Doing a quick beforehand video. Got quite a bit to do here. No shortage of sanding and rust removal. Got some new fenders to put on here. We put new tires on. Clean up the wheels. Prepare the brakes. Rear axle has brakes on it. Reinstalling that. Got to get the ramps out of there. They look like they've been rusted in there for a while. Yeah, it needs some work. Lost the tire on the way. All right, got the tow bar off. That wasn't too bad. Got the whole thing mounted up on jack stands. So I got jack stand in each corner. Got the wheels off here. You know, clearly a lot of rust, but actually not really that bad a shape. This is like a bearing buddy assembly. Actually feel really good. Not a lot of play. Back's a little worse, but these are the ones I'm going to be replacing anyway with the new brakes and everything. Jack's in there. Still got to tackle getting the ramps out. And this one, obviously, cut drum. The root cause of why this thing almost blew apart on the drag home. Look at that. Wiped out the fender, worse than it already was. Blew the tire apart. And then this one still seems pretty good too, so I probably don't have to replace those front ones, but I'm definitely gonna, just in the spirit of fixing this thing up as much as I can. There's the tire on that side that blew off. This tread started flying off. It's pretty rough. So yeah, that's it. It's kind of today. I might tackle the ramps and start looking at getting the fenders off. You know, these fenders are welded into place, I think. So I'm gonna cut them off. I don't think I'm gonna weld the new ones on. I'm gonna try not to weld anything on this trailer. I think I'm just gonna bolt on everything. So, you know, drill a couple new holes, bolt it into place. That way, if I need to replace them again, that's a lot easier. Same with the receiver setup here, the tongue setup rather. I'm gonna cut that off, put the new one on, and try to bolt it in place rather than have it welded there. And I'm still on the fence about whether I'm leaving these ramps on. I do like the idea, but you know, so many cars sit way lower. You know, the ground effects are way lower than these things are, so I have a feeling I'm gonna end up cutting them off. We'll see. Well, half a victory. Got one of the fenders off. This one was only held on by 3 or 4 bolts, and it was so rusted it basically broke off. You know, between where the metal was and the actual weld was. So on the plus side, well, on the plus side it's off, but additionally these actually look fairly new on both sides for this front axle. Rear axle definitely, I got the drum off, and it actually didn't look too bad at all, surprisingly. You know, spindle looks pretty solid. I'm gonna take the dust cover off and just clean everything up behind it. But I think I might actually reuse the front hubs. They both look the same. I think they're probably been replaced at least somewhat recently, but they feel really solid. They spin really well. And then I'm gonna redo the rear hubs and the brakes and put the electric brakes back on. So this fender is completely unbolted, but very solid still because the weld's still holding really good there. So I gotta get the grinder out, start making some headway on it. But I think that'll be tomorrow morning's job. And I took a sledgehammer to the ramps and pry bar, trying to get them out. I got this one to move a little bit, and the other one hasn't budged at all, so they're definitely in there tight. There's actual like piles of rust holding that thing up. So that'll be fun, but that shouldn't be too bad. Once I actually get them freed up, I should be able to get them out. But yeah, so for day one of actually working on it, I feel like I made pretty good progress. You know, I think the harder parts now are going to be lots and lots of grinding. I'm going to grind off what's left of that fender, take that back down to the frame, and then clean it all up. So that should be fun. And then getting this. Okay, quick update. Trying this again. Guess last time I shut the recording off. So still haven't done anything with the tongue yet, except just kind of clean it up a little bit. I'm definitely gonna just cut that off and put the new one on. Got the fender off. That was a little more work than I thought it was gonna be. I had to cut every individual weld that was put in there, so that took a little while. And then the bottom side was also welded, so where you see you got still some spots here, those are welded on too. So those, most of them I just broke off. I didn't try to cut them off. Got the drum assembly off on this side. I took the other side off as well. That was the side that was already cut in half. So basically this little pin for the springs to hold the brakes in place is gone on the other side. I don't know if it was cut off or if it just broke off from that thing bouncing around. So I'm gonna get a whole new plate for the other side, I think, if I can find one. Ramps, still didn't get them out. Worked on them a little more today. They're freed up, but they're not coming out yet, so a little more work. I just dousing them with PP plaster every couple of hours or so, and it seems to actually be working. Was able to knock out a ton of that rust. So. And then, let's see, this side, got the drum assembly off, the half drum assembly, and I had to take the plate off. So on these, the plate it's got a kind of pressed in studs here, holding the plate on, and then it's nutted on the back side. I was able to get 2 of them loose. The other 2, the pressed in part, just kind of started free spinning. So I had to cut this side off from the front. And then this side I was able to cut off from the back because the lock washer broke off, so I was able to get right at the bolt. So, but it's off. Thankfully, the spin. Alright, do a quick video, I got a minute. Went through and really cleaned up the end here. Get ready to probably put another coat of paint on it. That's just primer now. Then I'll start working on bolting the new ball receiver on. Eventually I'll learn the actual name of it. It came out pretty good. You know, I went a little too deep in some areas, grinding the old weld off, but otherwise not too bad. So I was able to clean up all the rust. Got it down to bare metal, and then just threw a quick coat of primer on, so it doesn't really get any worse. I'm probably still going to try to sandblast some of those crevices and areas where I couldn't quite get to with the grinding wheel and the sanding wheel. And then got the fender area pretty much done. I was on the fence about cutting off those fender mounts or leaving them on there, but I've decided to cut them off, and I already did so on the other side. So this I cleaned up pretty good. You know, some of the pitted areas still probably have a little rust in them, so I'm going to sandblast this whole thing real quick and then get some primer on it again. Hopefully I'll have the sandblaster within the next week or so. Got the ramps fastened on. Whoop. And then on this side, I was able to get all the old pieces of the fender off. It's all ground down, or cut off, so I still have to grind down, so there's still a good bit of weld left in some areas, so I'll take that down. Yeah, I'm not going too crazy with it, just enough to get it somewhat level and able to get all the rust out of there. And then this side I already cut off the fender mounts. They were actually probably the better style, but I just didn't like the way they look, and I don't like having two different things on each side, so I'll make up some easier mounts. I think I'm going to still bolt the mounts on, that way I can replace easier if I ever need to, especially if I got to do any work, you know, on these on the shackles or any part of the suspension. It'd be nice to just pop that fender off real quick, make some more room. So that's it. That's the update. Hoping I can get some more grinding done today. I think I've decided I'm going to cut the wheel chucks off the front here. They're too high, and they're taller than my phone almost. And yeah, I think I might put something in there that's maybe smaller and removable. You know, maybe something I could just strap in place or bolt in place as a chuck instead of having something welded to the frame. That's it. And I'm going to start looking into actually filling this probably with some, you know, fill the interior with some wood and maybe put some new ramp sections in. So I think I'm going to have to totally redo these ramps. They're rotten right through in a lot of the structural areas. So I'm not really going to trust them to hold the weight of a car. Plus another interesting note is these hooks. I didn't really think about it initially, but the hooks kind of come up right in the middle of where you'd be pulling a car on. So once you hit a certain point, you know, you might actually get the car hung up on these hooks for the back, or these eyelets, loops, whatever. So I'm probably going to cut those off and move them to the sides. That way I don't have to worry about catching them on anything. Or maybe even flip them upside down, have them on the bottom. I think it's kind of a weird setup. So we'll see about that. But then I want to cut the frame pieces off for holding the ramps and redo that somehow. I don't think I need it quite, you know, so much a cage, maybe just a couple of bars going across to kind of hold them in place. But I think I might try to make them a little longer. These ones are kind of short. Even as the trailer sits pretty much flush, it's a pretty steep angle. I might make a little longer ramp and then have them mounted a little differently. I was trying to figure out a way to incorporate them into, you know, filling the section with wood and then having the ramp be incorporated right into that, but I don't know if I want to go through that much work. It'd be a lot easier to just fill the whole thing in flush, so we'll see. But those are the updates for now. I think I gotta order the new drum and brake system soon, because I'm getting pretty close to getting ready to put those on. Alright, more updates as I get them.